So how are we feeling this morning? Are we excited? Yeah! Great seminar 2013, people! Woo! Awesome!
One of the most revolutionary beliefs that we as Unitarian Universalists share is that all life is connected. If we take that seriously, that is revolutionary.
But 2 years ago, or a little over 2 years ago, this was a taboo. It was an unspoken subject. No one dared mention the word gay or lesbian or transgender at the UN without causing a nervous breakdown. At least at the intergovernmental level, there was a silence on the issue. And that was because politically this is a difficult issue. The Islamic countries, the African countries, and some other countries that were very opposed to the discussion of this, opposed to recognizing that this was a legitimate topic for discussion, had the numbers, that they managed to keep this issue off the agenda. Now that has changed. Ban Ki-moon gave a big speech, 2010, just across the road, where he appealed for the worldwide decriminalization of homosexuality and for further measures to end violence and discrimination against LGBT people. And that was huge. It was the first time that a UN Secretary General had really taken a big stand on this. It was a whole speech devoted to the topic.
And when we really thought about the issue of global LGBT rights, we see it as one of the most pressing and urgent human rights crises of our time, and that it was going to be very difficult to get the kind of changes that we want without a movement that was made up of millions, not thousands or even tens of thousands of people. And that's how we started it all out. We wanted to build a global movement with people in every country of the world who are connected to each other and who are also able to work in solidarity to support each other's struggles for LGBT rights. And we thought that if All Out could sort of arrive at the right moment with the right message, we could ignite and inspire a lot of people around the world to join this movement and add people power that's really going to be needed to win what we want. And I think most importantly, to win it in 10 years as opposed to in 50 years.
Transgender, cisgender, two-spirit, transvestite, drag, masculine, feminine, butch, femme, queer, genderqueer, queer theory, questioning, same-sex attraction, ex-gay, sexual orientation, biological sex, assigned sex, soji, sochi, he, she, z. There are a lot of words.
Nature tends towards diversity. If we believe nature is connected with the divine, then we believe that the divine likes diversity rather than monotony. However, around the world, religions, governments, schools, doctors, parents, and societies demand that all humankind conform to only one sexual orientation and one gender identity. Not to conform to one sexual orientation leads to death, legal death in 7 countries: Iran, Saudi Arabia, Yemen, United Arab Emirates, Sudan, Nigeria, and Mauritania, and effectively sanctioned death in many more.
I like the color pink. Take a look around.
I like to cook.
Look around.
As we just experienced in that game, those were all gendered statements. They were. I don't think there was a single one of those statements where everyone was split in terms of, well, pink box, blue box, right? That didn't happen. So we know that this is a lie.
Everybody deserves a safe and dignified life. And whoever you are, however you identify, whatever your color, whatever your national origin, first of all, you need to be safe. And so many of us are not safe. For most of us, we get dignity out of our jobs. And so if we're barred from having a job because of our sexual orientation, our gender identity, because of our race, because of our national origin, or whatever it might be, then we've lost some dignity. However somebody presents themselves before us, we've got to value their safety and their dignity just as we want safety and dignity in our life.
As Unitarian Universalists and religious people who support LGBTQI people, our voices have to be louder. Our activism has to be more engaged. Our fight to ensure that, and you're included in this because you're young people, that you have a safe world to move through, and that you know that you are absolutely loved just as you are.
For many folks to accept something that they've learned one way through their faith or through their tradition or culture about homosexuality, about gay identity, about gender identity. And so when they're confronted, they have to unlearn and they have to actually question. And that's a frightening thing for most people to do who've learned one way. But only through dialogue and only through being a representative of who you are and what it means to you to be a human being and to be a person who stands up for human rights and social justice. I think that's how we begin transforming communities, one person at a time.
Many times, even I talk to imams today, they'll say to me, well, you know, I support the LGBT community, but I can't say it publicly. And so that becomes the major issue. So we do have support out there, but it's just that they can't say anything publicly, so now it moves to political activism to make a significant change.
We have sin in the crisis on Wall Street was about sin, you know? And why should we restrict sin to the bedroom? There's sin in the boardroom, and we need to call it out.
All of these founders of religions, you know, whether it's Muhammad or Jesus or Moses or Abraham, they were the kinds of characters that would not go out and kill gay people. They would not preach the kind of hate that we're hearing in their names. And I think all of them would object to the kind of rhetoric that's being used in their names, because I don't think any of them were that kind of person.
I'm a shapeshifter without ever changing form. All that changes is the gaze that considers me. In this place, our place. One word, just one, matters. Human.
Go out. Love large. Love open. You can change a life with yes. It's okay. I'm here.
I did an interview about being an ally, and as a result, I got 2,000 emails from closeted kids across the country who all said, you know, I see you wearing the sticker and speaking out as an ally, and now I feel like I can join a sports team. So after I graduated college, I started Athlete Ally, which is a nonprofit organization dedicated to educating and empowering straight allies to speak out.
Nigeria's constitution, for example, guarantees freedom of expression. So shutting down freedom of expression in Nigeria is against their own law. It's also against the international conventions that they have signed. Ditto for Uganda, ditto for Russia. All of these countries have constitutions that actually read very similar to our own. We need to be advocates for them. I mean, it's great we're having all of this wonderful social change here in North America, but we need to remember there are people around the world who suffer greatly for doing just what we're doing here in a comfortable room, knowing that we're going to be able to go home tonight and not wind up in jail someplace.
We had Muslim, Hindu, Christian, Jewish faith represented.
Wrestlers, it was just beautiful to see people like that you wouldn't expect to want to make a difference.
This was an eye-opener for me with learning about, you know, changes that I can be able to make and feeling empowered.
And I'm really interested in that because I'm going to teach my friends all about it, because I feel like there's a lot of homophobia that shouldn't be going on.
The thing that has inspired me the most is the energy, the enthusiasm, and the openness.
By the level of knowledge, by the level of commitment, and by the level of engagement that the young participants that are attending the seminar have.
Seeing the youth speak so knowledgeably and effortlessly about homophobia and transphobia, and that gives me hope that the world is changing and really affirms that it can be changed.
It's basically due to the fact that there is a homophobia that is being promoted by the government often, by the media, by even members of academia, by medical community. And it's so systematic that people assume because they are gay, they are doing something wrong, so they don't basically step forward to talk about the human rights violations that happens to them.
The legal definition in international law is that persecution
is the severe deprivation of fundamental rights on the basis of a group's identity, right? And so that's exactly what we're seeing here. So you're seeing the denial, the deprivation of the rights of this community in Uganda because of their identity, their LGBTI identity. And we're already seeing that.
Can I hear what you guys see up here? What is the ideal situation? What are some themes that are coming out for you? Just scream them out, because we don't know.
Acceptance.
Love. Marriage. We see marriage.
Inclusiveness.
Inclusiveness. Harmony.
You know, my name is Joshua. And I have AIDS, technically. I moved to New York 3 years ago with $40 in my pocket and a dream. I've had to start writing new dreams. I quite literally, I've had to start creating new dreams because I've run out. The old ones have all been achieved. Start within yourselves to know that you are more than you are, and you have great power within you to make change.
What I'd like to urge you all to do is think globally and act locally. Think about how you interact with other people and become an activist and an advocate for human rights. You don't need to be formally affiliated with an organization, have a title, or much less be paid for it to do activism and advocacy work.
God of many names, goddess of many names, beyond gender.
Obstacles that are inspired by our story, or your own lives, or our friends' lives.
So for me, it's the same thing. The idea that I'm censored because I'm gay.
And who wants to be the sun? I can be the sun. I can be the sun. Don't be a man. You want to be the sun?
So this is like a legit true story. This is my coming out story.
Thank all of you for coming here. I hope you got a lot out of it. I'm going to give you a test right now. I'm going to ask you 3 questions. I'll give you a hint. The answer to each question is the same 2 words. So that should make it easy for you. So first of all, who owns your body? And I want to hear this loud. Who owns your body?
I do.
As adults with other adults, who gets to decide who you love?
I do.
Who gets to decide your gender expression or your gender identity?
I do.
I think you learned something in this seminar.